It's now Saturday, the 17th of October, 2014, and it's time for Lunch with Friends. We're making a documentary today. Today, we're taking Mother Pam Flournoy. I'm Matt Flournoy, Joanne. Mother Pam Flournoy and our good dear friend Jeannette Hunter. And we're going in to eat in an Italian restaurant called Vincent's. This is our program called Lunch with Friends. So we've got friends here, we're going to have lunch. Get a picture of you, Joanne.
I'm still here.
Selfie. Okay. I want to thank you for coming here today, and we want to ask some questions to learn about your past. How did you meet your husband, Dick Hunter? I'm sure it's a fascinating story, and we're recording this, so tell us about how you met your husband.
Well, he was stationed up in Maine. He was assigned to a new destroyer that was just being commissioned, the DD-214.
You remember the whole number, that's good.
Yeah, actually it was the Thomas was the name of it. And
What was the name?
Thomas, DD-214. And he came down to Hampton Beach, New Hampshire, and I'm from Haverhill, Massachusetts, which is north of Boston. And I'd gone to the beach with several of my friends, and we were laying on the sun, getting the sun. I've got a water in my throat. Let me get some water.
Okay.
Which is mine?
This one.
Yeah, you had the ice.
Better. So I went to the beach with several of my friends, and actually I was engaged to another sailor.
Oh, so you like sailors.
Apparently. And actually it was somebody I'd gone to school with, had gone into the Navy. And then my mom had said, I'm tired of having you hanging around the house on the weekends. Why don't you go to the beach with your friends? So I went to the beach.
On Mother's directions.
Yes, Mother's directions. Yeah, you put it all on Mother. And so I went to the beach, and we're out there sunning ourselves and putting on lotion and all. And there were these three looked like young men in bathing suits, and one of them was I thought was very hateful. He kept throwing sand on us.
Oh!
He kept throwing sand on us.
Gee, I wonder who that was.
Yeah. So, you know, you can guess, huh? So anyway, I'd had enough of it. So I told him to stop, and he was just ignoring us. So I took a Coke bottle, which was totally against my normal practice. I just took an empty Coke bottle, and I said, stop it, I mean it. And when I did that, he grabbed me, and he took me out in the ocean and dunked me.
Oh, goodness.
And I thought, oh, what a hateful teenager he is. What a hateful little teenager. Turned out that little hateful teenager was a 23-year-old sailor.
Oh, how about that? And that was Dick Hunter?
That was Dick Hunter.
Now, how did you get a date?
Well, he got very, very sunburned. And he just looked miserable. And he said he didn't know what to do about the sunburn. And so I said, well, come home with me. My mother's got something that'll help that, you know. And meanwhile, and so at the time, I'm still thinking he's a teenager. I didn't realize he was a sailor. So anyway, when he comes out of the dressing room, he's dressed in his uniform, and I'm just...
Oh, you didn't know he was a sailor.
I didn't know he was a sailor. I thought he was just a local teenage hateful boy.
That is so cute.
Yeah. But anyway, he came home with me, and my mother said, I didn't tell you to bring home another sailor. So anyway, but she took care of the sunburn and put something on him, and he went back to his ship. And then he called me and asked for a date.
Oh.
Called on the phone?
Yeah.
How long was he in port?
He was in port probably in port about a month, and then they went out for a trial run, and because when they commission a ship, a lot of times they find things that are wrong, and they
taking on sea trials.
Yes, that's exactly right. You got the lingo.
That better.
Yeah. So anyway, and then when they came back in, they came into Boston, which was actually closer than up in Maine. But anyway, he was in Bangor, Maine, is where they commissioned him.
I see.
So he came into Boston, and then he came out to the house, and so we dated while he was in Boston.
You supported the fleet. Now let me ask this: what year was this that you met? What year?
1945.
45. So it was after the war, or was the war still going on?
All still going on.
Okay.
70s.
The war ended. We were married August 18th, and the war ended, I believe, is it August 15th?
Oh, okay, 45. 1945.
Yeah.
That was good timing.
That's right.
Yeah. But then he was sent out. Then he was transferred from Boston. He was transferred down to. We got married while he was in Boston, and then he was transferred down to Norfolk, Virginia.
Norfolk, yep. Station.
And so we went down I went down to Norfolk, and
Y'all live in Norfolk then for a short period?
yeah.
You went south then, you're going south,
I'm
you know?
going south.
The southern accents, you're on your way to Atlanta.
I always said, after a while, I said I was really belonged on the Mason-Dixon line. I didn't. If I was in Boston, they said I had a southern accent, and if I was in Atlanta, they said I had a northern accent.
Right.
So,
That's so great.
but when I first came down, my in-laws couldn't
Understand?
understand me.
Wow.
I had a very thick Boston accent.
I like it. I like it.
Wow.
Well, didn't
And I didn't understand them either. Like
Yeah.
my brother-in-law, one of my brother-in-laws, I said, "How are you?" And he looked at me quizzically and he said, "I'm 39."
How? You got the how. Okay. And
And it kind of went downhill from there.
what did your husband do in the Navy? What was his job? In the Navy, we call it a rating. Was he enlisted officer? Was he a bosun mate? Was he a machinist mate? Boiler tech? Electrician's mate? Radioman?
He was a machinist mate.
Machinist mate?
Yeah.
MM is machinist mate. Worked on the engines.
Yeah.
It had steam engines.
He was in the engine room.
Engine room. Yeah, that's hard work.
Very
It's very
hard.
loud too.
He was very, very. When the first time I went, one time they had a day when the families and friends could go on the ship, and I was
Family cruise.
Yes, and I'm telling you, I was just astounded at how tight those quarters
Yes,
were.
very small.
And he was so, he was over 6 feet tall, and I thought, my gosh, how can he even sleep in that small bunk? But they were not ideal conditions to
No.
live in, I'm sure.
They didn't have air conditioning back
No.
then. It was very
Yeah,
hot.
very hot.
They'd go out on the
And they were
decks.
almost all thin.
Yeah.
I figured it was the heat that probably did it.
Well, being in the engine room, it can be over 100 degrees in the engine room. It's very hot work, and it's very loud too. The machines.
But anyway,
Well, that's interesting. Now you're allowed to eat too, so you've been. Mother's gotten a jump start on you.
All right.
Okay, go ahead.
Jeannette, I'm going to tell them a story that you told me, and if I get it wrong, you correct me.
okay.
All right. Jeannette told me her father always had her come over and help him out with the keeping of the books, that she always was taught how to keep books.
When I was 12 years old, I started keeping. He owned 2 service stations, and I kept the books. When I was 12 years old, I started. Of course, I went to high school when I was 12. When I was 12, I was a freshman in high school.
Really?
12 years of
When
age?
you were 12?
Wow.
Now, how did they test you, or?
No, I started school at 5.
So did I, but when I was 12, I was only in like 6th or 7th grade. Well, did they test you and advance you ahead?
They wanted to, but my mother and father said no, and I'm glad they did.
But how did you end up in high school when you were 12?
Well, it started when I was 5.
School.
At school.
So did I.
In grammar school. In 8 years.
Did they?
8 and 5 is, and I went to, I must have skipped 1 grade.
Yeah, you must have skipped some grades, because I started when I was 5 also.
Yeah, but I remember my mother, when I was in I think it was the 5th or the 6th grade, they wanted me to skip then, and she said no. So I must have skipped once. I probably skipped around went from first to third or something. Because I could read when I went to school.
Yeah, then
Wow,
that's
that's
unusual.
great.
That's
Did your parents teach you, or did you learn in Catholic school, or how did you?
Well, I went to Catholic school, but I can't remember when I could read. I can remember when we would be riding, I would read the signs, and I was probably around 3 or 4. And my grandfather, who lived with us most of the time, was when I was growing up. After my grandmother died, that was my father's father. He could read French, but he couldn't read English, and so
You learned to speak French.
I learned to speak French. Yeah,
Yeah,
actually,
see.
I spoke French and English, just
Intermittently. You could one and then the other. Anyway, I knew that about her.
yeah. And in the school, the grammar school that I went to, we had all our
C'est bon.
subjects in French.
Vous parlez français bien.
Oui,
Je
merci
parle un
beaucoup.
peu. Je parle un peu français. Je suis enchanté de faire votre connaissance.
Merci beaucoup, monsieur.
Il n'y a pas de quoi, de rien.
How many brothers and sisters did you
Just
have?
had one brother. I was
Just
the
one.
oldest.
Just
Wow.
2 of you?
Just 2?
Most of my friends only had one. Either had a brother or some of them were only children. 2 of my best friends were only children.
Really?
2 of them had a brother and had brothers, and then the other friend, she had both a brother and a sister.
Incoming food. Have a question.
All right.
I remember you saying that when you wanted to get pregnant, that you went to your doctor and your doctor told you that you shouldn't or you couldn't. Would you please tell that story? It's a great story about how you proved him wrong.
No, it was. It was before that. I had polio when I was 12,
Okay?
and some of my organs did not develop properly after that, and my spine was affected in my legs, and in fact, one of my cousins who had it sent out as me died from it. He was in an iron lung, so it was quite prevalent at that time. I was 12 at the time, and my brother had it and it affected one of his legs.
Really?
Yeah, it was when people don't appreciate what Dr. Soft did.
Yes. The
Yeah.
vaccine.
That vaccine is a godsend. And so I was being checked regularly by doctors, and when I was about 16 or 17 in one of my checkups, the doctor had said that he doubted that I would ever be. He said you might get pregnant, but you'd never be able to carry a child to term. And
How did that make you feel at the time?
well, I just had one brother, and I had just started dating a little bit. People didn't date as young back then as they do now, I think. And so, I thought, well, didn't really think that much about it. And so but when Dick asked me to marry him, I told him that. And he said, that if you can't have children, we'll adopt. He said, there's a lot of children in this world that need to be adopted. So,
And that is a wonderful response.
wasn't that? Well, that's the kind of person he was. He was just amazing. He was just an amazing person. He just loved the world and wanted to save it.
That's wonderful.
And I think that's what attracted me to him was the personality. Just caring, so caring. But he really had a sense of humor. Oh my gosh. He would just, he could keep you laughing. And the people that he worked with at Lockheed, they were just crazy about him. And he'd have crazy nicknames for them. And some of them I thought were a little bit on the insulting side. And yet they would brag about it.
Well, what made him decide to run for mayor of Marietta?
Some of his friends and family asked him to run for, first he ran for councilman. He was councilman 2 terms before he was mayor. And then when he was councilman, and he was councilman when Red Atherton was mayor. And then when Red went into the Georgia legislature, Brad and several of those men asked Dick to run for them.
Okay. I want to get back to your medical condition and about how you had children. Not everybody's going to know how many children you had after you were advised that you shouldn't or couldn't. But continue that story about getting pregnant.
We were married August 18, and then our first child, Jay, was born the following year, 1946, on June 29. And then
Did you have a normal delivery?
it was a long delivery, and I had to have an episiotomy. But outside of that, it was
Okay.
I had a normal pregnancy and normal delivery. Yeah, so I was very fortunate. And then Rusty was born.
Now, Rusty
19
had red hair.
She was born with red hair.
How about that? She earned the name Rusty.
Yeah, so some of her uncles started calling her Red, and she did not like that. She said, "I'm not going to be Red. I'm going to be Rusty."
Oh, great. Oh, I love that.
She controlled her nickname.
Oh yes,
That's
yes,
great.
yes. She well, she was very opinionated.
Oh, strong. I like that.
She was a strong woman. And so anyway, she was born. She was born very quickly. She was born in the hallway of the hospital. They couldn't even get me to the delivery room. And the nurse kept saying, wait, well, you can't wait.
Rusty's not waiting.
Rusty, and then when she was born, the nurse said, she's got red hair.
Oh, wow.
Of course, back then you didn't know whether you were having a boy or a girl.
That's right. So it's a surprise.
And so you've had a total of how many children for the
Well,
documentary?
12 children, 8 boys and 4 girls.
Wow.
All beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
All beautiful.
Sounds like a baseball team.
Well, we did have a
Softball
baseball team, softball team.
Softball, yeah.
Yeah. Tell them about your softball team.
Well, I think you're familiar with our softball
Yeah,
team.
but the
They were-
viewers aren't. The documentary people are.
Okay. Well, we just started playing softball, and there weren't really that many families playing softball as a family unit, so we played churches and businesses.
Yeah. So everybody on the team is a sibling. Your children. So
My
you-
children, and then as they got older, their children started playing. Yeah.
Are they still doing it?
No, we haven't been playing. Now, some of the children still play on softball teams. In fact, Rob and Ty play a lot with the Cobb County Police,
Oh, okay.
and sometimes with the Marietta Police. And then Ty was telling me that his son Devin, their softball team has asked Ty to go over and help him to play with them in some playoff game as well. So
okay.
they're all good athletes.
And weren't you on a national television show also?
Yes.
NBC.
Yeah, NBC.
National News, I believe, did a story on your family and the softball
Yeah.
team.
Yes, I have the video of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I have a video of it. We were because that was when there was a football, a baseball strike.
Okay.
That's when that was done. It was a baseball strike, and so they were looking for baseball stories, and so somebody picked up the fact that we had the softball team, and we were the champs. Well, I was born in New Massachusetts, as were my mother and my father. But both sides, on my mother's side and my grandfather's side, they were from up in the Quebec area, actually near Montreal.
Montreal.
In Montreal area, in Saint-Hyacinthe, and Trois-Rivières.
It's a big mountain, Mont Tremblant. White Mountain, Mont Tremblant.
Yes.
I've been snow skiing there.
Have you? It's beautiful.
In Montreal area.
And it's one time Rusty and Patty and I flew up to Montreal, and we rented a car, and we drove around and Montreal outskirts in all these little towns that that my grandparents used to talk about. Oh, and it was fascinating. And those little country towns I don't think they had changed that much. And it was really funny because the girls, I used to teach the children a little bit of French, and it took a little bit with some of them, but some of them just didn't care. So Rusty probably had the best ear for French, and Jay had a good ear for French. But but some of the others they like listening to it, but they didn't want to bother learning. So anyway, when we went to in the restaurants or in the girls kind of had to depend on me because they had some idea of what the menu said, but they weren't sure.
Okay.
So they were dependent on me in the restaurants.
Je voudrais parler français avec toi.
Oui, oui, monsieur.
Et, comment vous appelez-vous?
Jeannette.
Je m'appelle Matt. Je suis enchanté de t'avoir.
Well, you've
And I'll be
always
90
been
next July.
interested. You've always been interested.
I always felt that politics had a very strong influence in our lives, and it was not logical to ignore
Yeah, that's a good point.
what was happening.
Since
And that frightens me now because there are so many people who don't grasp that. They don't understand the importance of politics.
Right.
And they think, oh, they're all the same. They're really not.
And they're upset about what's happening to them, and they don't realize they have the power to change.
That's right. And probably some of those who are affected most grievously are the ones who don't vote.
And they need to be
Well,
involved in the
I
process.
found out how important politics